Zoomers. You hear me? Yes?
Yeah, we've got you, Justin.
Good afternoon. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Greet your neighbors, please. And today's invocation. Oh, hold on a second. We'll wait till Chad Mormon's done. Chad, are you done? Good to see you, buddy. Doug Druschel has our invocation today, so this ought to be good.
Chad, I would never treat you that. May those of us who have share with those who have not. May those of us who can do for those who cannot. May those of us who are loved love those who are not. And may we all live our lives so that the world is better off for having had us in it. Amen.
Yeah. Sherry's got an announcement on the fly. That's fine. Yeah, bring her up. Part of the crew. Take your time. Don't roll that ankle, Sherry. I know it's struggling for you. So, hey, we have just a couple of announcements today. First announcement, we're going to hit on one of our most important projects. So, Tom Rumball, why don't you come on up here? He's going to give us a flag update, and then I'm going to give an update for Mike Steiner, who's out in the crowd today. Some volunteerism we need on the flag program. Tom?
Thank you, Justin. New sound system.
Good.
Yeah, I just want to give you a report on the readiness of the flags for the season. As of last week, the pallets are empty. We store the flags to be assessed from last year and repair everything. Put them all on pallets and get them ready for this year. Those pallets are done. We don't have to look at those big piles anymore. We're still about 200 to 300 flags short of what we need to be prepared for this season. So that will be all new flags and new poles. So it's easy work. I want to try to get one more maintenance day scheduled before May, and that day will be coming out. And if anyone has any suggestions, or if anybody wants to volunteer for flag maintenance in our warm building with plumbing and everything else, very comfortable, come and see me or Wayne Bear. And we try to stagger the days and the times. And like I say, if anyone has any suggestions or any days or times that they want to make it, I will never turn away any volunteers. So thank you.
Thanks, Tom. And then also just from Mike Steiner, it was about 3 weeks ago. He was looking for 2 installers. This is a really important component for the program. Mike, you said you have about 90 outstanding installs that are going to be due in May when we kick the program off. So that's 90 sleeves being put in the ground, and we need some help with that. So if you can help, even if you can't do all of those, obviously, if you can help out a little bit, please reach out to myself or Mike Steiner and let him know that you're willing to do that. You know, one important component to Rotary, obviously, is our cooks, and we've got a new cook with us today. Is this day number 1, Abby? So we've got Abby Bennett. So let's introduce her. Come on up here and say hello. And welcome to the family, Abby. Thank you. She said she didn't want to come up here, so I had to. So, Abby, thanks, and welcome to the team. We appreciate you. What other announcements do we have today? We've got every Rotarian every year. My buddy Chris Pycraft is going to give us an update here.
Thanks, Justin. As I said last week, we're kicking off our Every Rotarian Every Year campaign right now. And your opportunities to pay are the same that we've done in the past. We can get you an invoice from Greg's office. You can write a check and bring it to the meeting or deliver it to Greg's office, or you can pay through your account and club runner. And since we have a lot of new faces and a lot of new folks, whether virtually or here, I wanted to remind everybody a little more about what the background of this program is. Every Rotarian Every Year is Rotary International's ask that you contribute $100 per year. Those dollars get funneled to the Rotary International Foundation, where they're invested for 3 years, and half of that money comes back to the district level. And over the past years, our club has been more active in soliciting and receiving district funds to help finance our activities. So your contribution helps people on an international level, on a district level, and on a local level. It's a worthy program. We consider you to continue your participating at whatever level you can, but again, the ask is $100, and you can pay for your account and club runner by giving the check to Greg or by asking for an invoice to be added to your account. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And I know, you know, in the past when we were meeting in person, there was a consistent push for this. And so I think we have Chris tasked for 4 meetings to come up and remind us of this important initiative that we have each year. So this is not going to last 2 months, folks. If you're willing and able to support Every Rotarian Every Year through the Rotary International Fund, we do request that you do so. So make sure that that happens sooner rather than later. A couple of things also, Tim here in the back, he just walked out. The timing is impeccable, but this is the second week and we are kind of the guinea pigs of this room. So any comments or concerns that you have with the room, please let us know as we fine tune this. Last week, if you remember, Samara was you were the show last week when you were supposed to share it with Chris Bueller. And the reason being is that she went way too long. And and secondly, we had some IT issues. So we are working on those. And Lynn, how are we doing as far as Zoom wise? You can hear everything's good there. So Cheryl and Becky, thank you so much for everything you guys do behind the scenes on the IT perspective. Without your help, we could never put this together. So we appreciate it. And I went a little out of order just to throw some curveballs, but we have a couple of guests today. So Samara has our traveling mic, and trust me, here's one thing we're gonna work on. That mic really works, okay? So watch yourself, it's a hot one. And what guests do we have here today? Right over here. Yeah, who is this one? Nicely done. Welcome, Todd, and welcome back, Chris. We missed you, buddy. Who else we got? There's another guest here. Oh, Sarah up front. Sarah has a guest and decided not to sit with him. So this is not a good indication. So excellent. Excellent, thank you. What other guests? And see, you've been around so much. You spoke to us this past fall, or maybe it was the first year, right around the first year. You're part of the family already. So, Tim, we're sounding good back there. Can you hear us? Good. And thank you, Tim, and tell the church thank you for all the work you guys have put. Their responsiveness to our needs has been phenomenal. So thank you so much, Tim. Who? Any other guests? Greg, you got an announcement? Was this pre-approved? If Lynn didn't approve it, then come on up.
All right, I have a save the date. It's August 16th. Meals with a Mission, like our 4th or 5th year. And we will be doing it, and it'll be on the format of what Habitat used to do, when they did their blues and barbecue. We'll be mostly outside, but those that want to dine inside, we will have live music. It'll be a little more summery and festive, and we're hoping we can do as well as Habitat did with this. And the reason I feel very confident that it will come off is the new committee that's going to plan it is three of our more high-powered individuals. The three are Courtney Oder, Samira Zimmerly, and Robin Beasley. So they will be coming back with more details as we get closer, but if you can kind of pencil that out, that's a Monday at TJ's. We will do the whole thing the way we've done it in the past, so the weather will be allowed. So, thank you.
That's great, Greg. You've got the weather forecast for 4 months and 1 day away, so that's awesome. So mark your calendars. August, you said 16th, correct, Greg? Absolutely. Folks, we have any other announcements from the floor? Those are the announcements and the fun that we have today here before we bring up our speaker. Any other announcements? No? Okay. Everybody's going to get tired of hearing me because I know when Don Noble had our speaker lined up today, he said, is there any way you could introduce him? So I said, sure, not a problem. So our speaker is Armand Massary. And I will tell you this, he didn't send me a bio. Okay, so that's going to make this a little easy and difficult. So what we're going to do, we're going to show a video. We're going to attempt to of an award that Armand received last year from the Chamber of Commerce. He was the Distinguished Leadership Wooster Alumni. And that means someone that went through the Leadership Wooster program at the Chamber of Commerce and then slowly built themselves up over time and went to the position that he is today. If you don't know his position, he's the general manager of one of our longest standing and one of our most important industries in town, Artiflex, also known as Gerson Slavers previously, right? I can tell you this, while professionally he'll probably cover some things that he has done and the video highlights this, I do know him from a personal, and I can tell you that he is a salt of the earth guy who truly does give back to the community, not only his time, but his talents, his treasures. And really, when you look at the auto industry and you look at the some of the challenges that they have in the near future and on a daily basis, we wouldn't want anybody else to be heading that up than Armand, our speaker today. Very community minded. His family has been part of this community now for 22 years. And if you know Toyrifics, who doesn't know Toyrifics up there in Smithville? That's owned by him and his wife, Lisa, his beautiful wife, up in Smithville area. And they have kids that went through Smithville as well. Correct? Worcester. Okay. So anyhow, he is a heck of a nice guy. He gives back, again, a lot of his time and is always available if anybody has any questions. So it's a really important role in the community, and I'm super glad that he has that. So we're going to try to share this video. I think it highlights him as a person and then also kind of cues up our presentation today. And again, we'll attempt this. You are the guinea pig here. Folks, our guest speaker, Armand.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey. You got it, Cheryl? That was creepy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I'm the Armand Massary, GM at Gersco Division, which is formerly Gerson Slaughter. So Gersco, under the Artiflex wing, is a Clyde operation and a Wooster operation. So just first things first, everyone struggles with my name. Again, I'm from the Warren Youngstown area. Actually, there were people with this Armand as a name in Warren. Arm & Hammer is a very simple way. I've been called that. So it's a very simple way to remember my name. Let's see, we went through this already. 33 years of experience in automotive and tire. Joined Artiflex in 2017. Again, they were heavy into service. So what service is in automotive is, hey, Ford's got a new F-150 coming out. All those dies, fixtures, racks, got to go somewhere. They're not going to stamp volume for the service side of their business. They're going to outsource that. And Gerson Slaughter or Gersco has always been one of the leaders in service opportunities. Thus, you see, our product, the dies that we have to store, the racks we have to store, the Timken yard, the old Timken yard, it's full of things. But that's service is going away. As you know, there's autonomous vehicles coming. There's sensors in vehicles. When you do have a collision, there's so much technology in that vehicle that a lot of times that vehicle is scrapped. Our service volumes is nothing we can build a future on. It's definitely going away. Used to have years and years and years of volume. For example, a Ford Taurus, you could count on beautiful volume on a Ford Taurus service program for years. Now these models change every couple of years. People don't, they'll decide whether they want to put a fender on from the OE or they can go from, third market copies. So we had to transition into OE. We've got all the equipment of the big guys. The big guys don't want to run low volumes. Here's our niche. So again, as Artiflex has grown, this is where we're moving. This is what I was brought in to do. And again, we had to change the culture. Again, when you're in service, if you're late, it's no big deal. It's going to a Ford warehouse. If you're a week or two late, no big deal. It'll get there. If it's a little beat up, they'll wet sand it, they'll grind it, they'll make that car look good when they paint that fender, paint that hood. That's not OE. Those of you that have been in original equipment, OE is theirs.
It's a surface quality. There are no rejections. There's no compromises on quality. So we had to change the culture because they were sort of like, hey, this is how we do it. It's good as this gets. And that just doesn't work with the big guys. And then developing high performing teams, very stagnant. Unfortunately, I have to say, I mean, it was a very stagnant management team. And there was a lot of work that needed to be done to get this thing transformed. The leader, a little bit about Artiflex, leader in tailored solutions for low volume, light gauge metal products for transportation and industrial manufacturing. I'll go through some of our groups. So up north, we have tool design and build. So actually the tools that we're stamping with, we have divisions up north in Michigan, the Grand Rapids area that can design and build the tools. We also have an automation arm, so Automatrix, that is also up in Grand Rapids, can build the automation. They not only do automation for us, but they also do it for any supplier or customer that needs that. We've got, of course, stamping, which we have in Wooster and in Clyde. We have assembly, which is the growth, the heavy growth in both our sites. We have E-code capabilities in Worcester, and then quality. We've got, again, the certifications required to be in the business. I'll go into that in detail. So here's a breakdown of Artiflex, who we are. Again, you can see Grand Rapids. You can see the Walker, Michigan, Wyoming. Again, tool and die and automation up north. And then in the operation side of things, that's in Ohio. So that's where we produce. The Gersco division, again, is Wooster and Clyde. We are the cornerstone of the company. So again, there's money in tool and die, but it's not the cornerstone of Artiflex. What Wooster does day in, day out keeps this company going. So we are the cornerstone of Artiflex, and we're proud to say that we contribute very well to the vision of future of where they're going. A little bit of breakdown of what we do. I talked about service, so we call that pass model service. Again, so that's a vehicle is no longer in production at one of the automotive facilities, and they need to outsource that work. We do a lot of work for BMW down the South Carolina operation. We ship product locally, what I call locally national distributors, in the States, but we also, through Built Right's packaging, we ship things back to Germany. So we do a lot of work on the vehicles that come out of Plant 10, they call it, down in South Carolina. Factory assist. So this is a situation where you've got I told you we've got the same equipment as the big guys. This typically happens on a Friday about 4:30, and we start getting calls, and they'll say, my line just went down. GM will say, I just lost pressure in this fleet off press. I need help. They already have dies being put on trucks. So you've seen our dies around town. We can get one die. It takes two semis to haul one die. So you got to split it because of the weight. You got to center it on that load, and then you got to fasten it down. When they have situations like this on a major line, they have trucks and dies already lined up before you've even given them a quote. That's the situation they're in. They got people ready to come down. Once they select who they are, who the supplier is going to be, they got quality people coming down and living with you until those parts go back to them. So you may have a GM representative camped out for 4 weeks for that situation. When Ford switched over to the aluminum trucks, they got real wise and actually offloaded. They had so much work to do on their production lines. They offloaded that assembly to us, the stamping and short-term assembly on the F-150s, the current model. We had that probably for about 16 months. And that allowed them to get their new aluminum truck line up and running. That was years ago. So this is this stamping, the tooling and the automation. So again, that's some separate arms. We do build tools for anybody. When we do get a program, it is nice when we build the tooling, we build the automation, we stamp and assemble in-house. That's sort of a perfect fit. That's what we like to do. But we sell tooling to everybody. We also use outsource Chinese and Korean suppliers for low-cost tooling when we have the time permitted. And then we talked OE contract and non-auto. So automotive is very cyclical. We've got opportunities of trying to grow into other segments that is not so cyclical. Of course, any business you want to stabilize your financials. But our growth is in OE. There's a lot of new vehicles coming out. You're aware of the EV, the electric vehicles that are hitting the market. I think GM said during the Super Bowl, they've got 20 plus vehicles over the next 5 years coming out. This is everybody. So you've got a lot of people coming out with the electric vehicles. Those volumes are very low. We've been talking with Lordstown Motors. Again, we used to do a lot of offloads for Lordstown. Now that they're back in the game, they're talking volumes of 2,500 units year one. That's perfect. I mean, that's what we do. That's low volume. We've got the equipment. We can help them work out the tools. So it's really good. But that's just sort of a breakdown of the businesses. So we talked a little bit about ITS, advanced engineering, initial feasibility services. So they build tooling, but we also have customers come to us and say, hey, I've got a problem with this part. We were the third supplier for heavy truck. We do some bumpers for PACCAR. And 2 suppliers actually went out of business. They couldn't make it work. We got the job. That was before my time. The job was a job I wanted to give away when I first got there. It was bloody. Not a good business to be in, making bumpers. If you can imagine, the last piece of chrome on that truck right now is that front bumper. And the quality requirements, it's like a jewel. And it's very intense, a lot of rejections, a lot of debits. We work through it, we improve the tools, we improve the processes. We actually stamp these bumpers with a plastic coating on them, and then we've got to peel that to protect the surface. But we solve problems. I guess that's what I'm getting at. And that starts all the way up at engineering. Customers will come to us with problem dies, or they'll come to us with, hey, we need some help on this part we're trying to make. So you can actually see through scanning, through simulations, you can see where your problem points are. You can see in the picture on the left there, you can see that corner that's red. That's going to split. So this is made out of aluminum. Aluminum flows much differently in a stamping die than steel does. And aluminum gets thin and it gets brittle and it splits. And you can see this is definitely, so in this stamping, not sure what part that is, but it looks like a battery tray. There's definitely a situation in that corner before we even build the tool. You can actually go through and look at how that part is going to be stamped. So if I look there, that's a 5 die string. So you start off with the draw on the left and you start just trimming out details one by one. But you can see through simulation how that part's going to perform. So that's an inner foot right there. Again, I talked about difficult. We're known in Michigan for, we get the stuff people don't want, or we fix the stuff that people didn't spend the money on, rightly the first time. So do a lot of repair work, a lot of fix me up. Hey, get this die running. This is what the part needs to be. I don't care the cost. You guys do your magic. So good group of people up there. Keep doing that. Now jump into Gersco real quick, trying to be careful of time. 1860. So the Gersco company, again, we're 161 years old, the old Gerson Slogger, started in 1860 in Marshallville. You can see in 1904, went over to Gerson Slogger, and you can just see the timeline through the period. I will highlight, it looks like in the 50s, they had in the one conference room these huge howitzer casings. And the one story, you hear wives stuff. The one story on the floor is, hey, we used to build these casings. We didn't build. We don't have that kind of equipment. I couldn't find any equipment to do that. I said, what what did we make during that period? We actually made the trailers and the wagons that carried. So the military shipped in a bunch of these howitzer casings, but it was pretty cool to see. We still have a lot of history and a lot of those artifacts around. But you can see through the years. I'll focus in 1997. Worthington Industries purchased Gerson Slaughter, and then in 2011 is when Artiflex, Aaron Hoffman came in. Worthington Industries is still 50% owned. I don't know if many people know that. So they're still an owner, they're a partner, they're behind the scenes. They do not have operating control. So they're just there. I put together board packages for them. They have board meetings every 3 months, and they help us out on scrap when we're dealing with scrap. Again, at much higher volume. Manufacturer when it comes to helping out with scrap, and they help out with safety if needed. So again, very standoffish, a great financial arm to have, but Worthington is still part of the business. So a little bit about us. We've got about 110 presses, all different sizes. I'm not going to bore you on the details. Little presses all the way up to 2,500 ton presses. And again, you can see the line there. The top corner on the left on that presentation, that's our Clyde line. So that's an automated press system. We've got 4 automated lines that can run product down them. Then we've got a lot of manual lines. You can look 66 assembly cells, and that's still growing today. A lot of the work we're doing, again, people are saying, hey, I need you to do more than just stamp it and ship it to me. I need you to put it together. The volume's too low. I don't want to have all this equipment in my house for 2,500 units for 15,000 units. It's just not enough volume for those guys. So we have a lot of cells. We have a lot of flexible cells. So if you can imagine, we have, I forget the number of die strings we have right now, but we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of part numbers that we have to be able to produce at a moment's notice. So we may get a call. I'll use Ford. We do a lot of service work for Ford. Hey, I need 500 pieces of this 1975, let's just call it a Taurus hood. We've got to pull the dies out. We got to pull the racks out. We got to pull all the check fixtures out, get it all together, get it clean, checked, ready to run, get the material, which is really tough. Those that know raw material right now, aluminum is a very, very tough market. Commodities are going through the roof. So, and then we got to get it set up, produce it, make sure it matches the sample, and ship it and tear it apart and do it again. And on our automated lines, we may do that 3 times a day within a 24-hour period. Our volumes are not that big. So it's a difficult puzzle to manage every day because you're managing a lot of different moving parts. But in our assembly cells, as I mentioned, you have to have a lot of flexibility. As we go more and more OE, we are getting dedicated. So I'll talk about a JL half door cell for Jeeps. That is a dedicated cell. That's about $6.5 million of investment just to make Jeep doors. We got that commitment from the customer, from FCA, Scientists now is their new name, but that can't run anything else but Jeep doors. As I mentioned, we do have E-coat. You see the big metal roof as you go around the circle at Bowman Street, and we are working that is going to get painted this year. We've been investing a lot internally and externally on our look and our feel, and just how we are as a good neighbor for the community. But we do E-coat, which is a nice value to have also. So now once you E-coat a part, that part is not going to rust. So again, our customers can go store that in a warehouse without putting any value add into it. They don't have to ship it to another E-coater. It's basically a underlying surface underneath your paint finish. So every car vehicle has an E-coat finish to it. It's just a black finish, but we do have that capability. I'll jump into Automatrix real quick. Again, they're up north. They make the automation cells. They make the equipment. Doesn't mean we always use them. They have to be competitive. I've got a team of engineers coming in right now, not from Automatrix, working on a Samsung cell that I feel they screwed up on. So now when I get that bill, that's probably going to go their way. But when you sign up for a job and you sign up for a piece rate, that's what you have, and you may have that job for 10 years. You've got to hit that piece rate, or it's going to be, like I mentioned, a bloody job. So they do good work. We work well together. I don't want to get the notion that we don't work well as teams, but they do. So they design our equipment. Mostly they do it for other people too. Down in Navistar, actually in Springfield, Ohio, there's probably 150 robots sell. They've got the GM truck cab that they completely designed and installed. So that was about a $25 million project. So they can do big stuff, or they can do a little project for me and Wooster and Clyde. And then just talking about some of the different things we did. It's funny, years ago, Cadillac had an ELR. They had an electric sports car. And I always felt they were a little ahead of its time. The problem they had is they also had an electric economy car, if you remember, at the same time. And then reports get out that frame was put on the same vehicle. So all they did was reskin that economy car. But the Cadillac DLR, when Aaron Hoffman first bought the business, he signed up. He said, "Hey, we do need to grow into OE." We picked up all the panels of that vehicle. So every piece of the exterior of that vehicle, that was Artiflexes. So that was a big jump into OE. They weren't quite ready for it. They did succeed in getting it. The vehicle just didn't have anything. So we still have, actually the owner has one of them. We found one on the used market, and we actually have one in what we call skin state up in Grand Rapids. We do a lot of work for Nissan. That's a utility van, not the sharpest looking van, but Justin doesn't mind it when he drives around town, but that's his vehicle. But that is an OE, so we ship that to Canton, Mississippi. We do all the body panels there for that job. And then I've got another one to highlight, Ford Mustang. We got a job called Mustang Rails. Again, the job came in. Ford pulled it from a supplier that wasn't performing. Here you guys go. What can you do with this thing? Not only have we been able to fix this tooling and get it running well, we've been able to run it as a 2-out. So the tooling comes in, and typically you get one die on a press and you stamp one part out. We've been able to fit those two together so that both parts come out at the same time. So we've got some very creative people. So that's been a nice job for us. Skid steers. We did a lot of work for Macor and McLaughlin. We still run these parts, but they had a problem. They had this sort of cab assembly being done at 2 different sites, and not the same equipment. A lot of issues on making. If we made the parts to print, it wouldn't go together. Those that are in engineering know how that works. So we had to work with both sites and work out a universal structure that would work for them, and that's what we did. So we stamp. They get assembled every day. Caterpillar is been a very strong market, so that's been a decent job for us also. Yeah, there we go. So you might see those every once in a while. We did some demo cars. The guys in program management and sales always have the best jobs. They get vehicles that aren't released yet. I told you we're sort of a low volume guy. So we get the hot rod hoods for FCA. And you see the shaker hood up there in the corner left. That program was supposed to end a couple of years ago. It just keeps going on and on and on and on. We're trying to keep those tools safe and in good condition to make the parts for them. The upper right, that was the Dodge Demon. Those of you that are in the cars, they only made 2,500 units. We actually shipped them 4,500 hoods. These cars are, again, a very expensive sports car, one-time build. Jay Leno has one, a lot of celebrities have these. But they had problems with the custom paint, the flat black custom paint. So for 2,500 units going out of their factory, they actually bought 4,500 hoods. But it was good for us. But anyways, You can see the Durango there. That's a hood that's in production now. If you walk into our factory right now, you can see that hood in production. And then the far right corner, that's called the LA hood. That's the latest 2 scoops. So again, you know, they get these vehicles and they want to dress them up. The volume's not there. They'll put a hood on a vehicle for a year or 2 now. So again, they don't want to do that in-house. It's much better to have someone like us, a low volume producer or someone to do that. So not only do we stamp the hoods, we assemble them, and then we also put a mastic in it that will cure it. And at times, depends on the customer, we'll e-coat or we won't e-coat. 2 minutes. Okay. I'm going to rush through this. So this is the Jeep half door. This is in production now. You order a Jeep. Mopar service, Chrysler was very strong in saying we don't want Jeep customers going to the internet buying parts from, let's say, Summit Racing or whatever. They want to control service. So they came out and said, hey, we want to make these Jeep half doors. So every Jeep you buy, there's an option you can click on and you can get 4 half doors that are in a nice compartment in the back of the Jeep. And then sunny day, you can pop these doors off, your original doors, and you put these half doors on. So this was the cell I was talking about. Big investment by the ownership, but we will have years of production there. I just want to jump in real quick. Some of the things we've done, EH&S, environmental and safety. We have worked now over 1.4 million hours without a lost time accident. When I first came, when I first came to the safety meeting, it was embarrassing. And I'm going to tell you, I had pains in my rear end because everybody in this room, we were in this room, everyone stood up and received awards except Artiflex. I had a brand new director of safety and I said, never again. Never again. Safety is the #1 thing. When I first came here, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over. When I first came, everyone said, why are you joining Gerson Slaughter? They said it's called Dirty Gertie's. Why do you want to go there? Then other people that worked in the medical side of things at the hospital said it's called the slaughterhouse. Why do you want to go work there? Lots of lacerations. If you can imagine, these parts, when we stamp an outer or an inner, they are sharp as razor blades. So if I walk through the factory, I have to wear Kevlar sleeves. All of our people wear Kevlar sleeves. If you bump into a part, even with Kevlar on, it will slice through the Kevlar and slice. I mean, you're getting stitches. So lacerations are our biggest thing. So we did a lot of work, brought in the right people, did a lot of work on safety, training the temporary employees. It's a very, very hazardous environment. And we have to protect our most valuable asset, and that's our employees. So we've done a great job. Can't wait for the next safety committee when we're all live again, because we're having some fun on how do we keep celebrating these milestones. So we had a 1 million hour milestone, and now it just keeps rolling. So that's good. Safety compliance programs, making sure we're compliant. I won't worry with that. ISO 14001 environmental certification. We see that. We do a lot of work making sure we are compliant and we're following all the rules and regs. And then COVID leadership. Again, the team that we have, they did an excellent job when COVID first came out. I don't know if everyone remembers, it was March, and everyone said, hey, this is going to be for two weeks. We're going to do a layoff. Things are going to slow down for a couple of weeks, and then we'll see what happens. Well, you know what happened, and here we are today. We had to get everybody to quit worrying about COVID. We put a special team together. They gave us all the leadership advice. They told us what the governor was saying. We completely decompartmentalized and got people to quit worrying about it. Do your job, and we're going to be led by this team. We trust them. So this was all the way up to the owner and the owner's wife on this team. So again, really good leadership there. Quality, customer scorecards were a mess. We had to get them green. You can't be an OE supplier and stay in business if your scorecards are yellow or red. They will debit you into bankruptcy. So we had to get everything green. Again, invest in people and work on that. IATF certification, that's really the certification to be able to play in the game. We just had an audit 2 weeks ago, 5-day audit, first time ever, no majors. And the same thing with quality. So you start with safety and then you go to quality. and then you go to performance. You can't get it out of the way. Ford 1Q1 certification, real proud of this. When I first came, we had already lost our Q1, and it's sad to have a flag that you can't hang. It's embarrassing. Our maintenance team takes great pride in that flagpole that's on Bowman. Everyone gets to see that. And I said, why can't we get our flag back? Well, our quality is getting better, but it's our delivery. And you just don't understand, Armand. We'll never get it back. We received that back this year. So very proud of the performance the team has done on just taking away all the excuses and focusing on what we need to do, the blocking and tackling. And then on performance, I can't get into financials, but again, delivery improvements, inventory reductions, drastic inventory reductions, manufacturing expense reductions. If we didn't make the reductions we did and get the right team in place before COVID, I'm not sure that I'd be here today. I'm not sure that we'd be on the corner. But we had to lower our break even. And you know, it was just a blessing to have the people that we worked together on how we made that happen. But it was just focusing on bringing down your expenses. Those that know me, you know, they pick on me. I'm never happy. I'm never satisfied. We've never gotten to where we need to be. Just found out Friday we're working with Chad somehow on trucking. It's going to be maybe a nightmare for you, but it's what do we have to do to keep getting better to lower our expenses? Because every year, guess what? FCA comes in and says, I need 3% back. And you can argue with them and you can fight with them. At the end of the day, they just short pay you. What are you going to do now? They just short pay you. It's unbelievable. Automotive's tough. So, and then we focused on process improvements. That's the only way to get better. Again, is saying, hey, I'm not going to, you know, I'll use the Samsung cell. I'm not going to just say, I'm going to accept that rate. If it was quoted at 60 pieces an hour, we're going to get 60 pieces an hour. By the way, I'd like to see 70. Let's not break even. Let's tune this thing up. So that's where we have fun. I stretch the team a lot. So really, this is just Armand's, this is just what I do. I focus on people. It's all about people, high performing teams, be relentless in your hires. It is, wait, don't sacrifice a hire. It's all about getting the right people in the right positions and then letting them go. You know, don't crawl all over them. Establishing trust and rapport with all levels of your organization. You know, Justin talked, my dad was blue collar. I'm from Warren, Ohio. I could walk you through factories. Well, I can't walk you through those factories because they're rubble now. But it's all about the people. And you've got to spend time on the floor. You've got to spend time with the people. You've got to care. And you know, he taught me that. And once you have that, you build trust and you do build rapport. So I can't do anything without that team on the floor. And they know I'll fight for them anywhere, any day, for what needs to be right, whether it's an intercompany issue or customer issues, if someone's in the wrong. So, you know, establish that trust, develop and commit to processes applicable to your business. We had all these certifications, but we weren't following the rules. We'd get an audit and guys said, well, I don't check that. Well, it says on this piece of paper, you're supposed to check that every hour. Well, we don't do that. That's just the form. No. You can't do that in automotive. So we you know, we have people following systems, and that's in the office too. It's not just then implement systems that support your company's future state vision. We do execution management stuff. We do a lot of things on program management. You can imagine, you know, we're working on some programs right now that are 3 years out. You can't imagine all the documents and all the drawings you have to save and all the engineering changes you have to keep track of. So just work on systems that help you know, you and your future. You cut me here. All right, so where do we need help? I'm going to throw this plug out here. I know it's you don't want to hear it, but everybody's having problems. I was up in Canton this morning for an appointment. Fast food's looking for people. Everybody's looking for people. Professionals are commuting from other areas. All the manufacturers are singing the same tune here. They're choosing to raise families in other communities. They don't want to refurbish old houses. They're putting too many hours in. They work too hard. They want hassle-free turnkey housing. They want a place that they can eat and sleep at. And they want a neighborhood the kids can play. Taking care of large properties, that's what I wanted. That's not what I want to do now, but I'm still stuck in that environment. They don't want to do that. They're very social, this younger generation. They're kid-centric. They want to have active developments. And one last thing, yeah, the workers no longer have to commute for jobs either. So as gas prices go up, guess what? That crew I used to get from my paint line that came in from Massary, they quit showing up for work. They're not going to drive 30 minutes for a job when they can find a job, right around the corner. So it is a really, really tough situation we're in. We need housing, and I think everyone's aware of that. I just wanted to toot that one more time. Any questions? One last thing. One last thing. There was a mistake in the very beginning. When he said my title, the toy refix thing, just to let you know, everything I do all day long, everything I work on, everything my team accomplishes, I bring none of that home. I'm not allowed to bring it into her life. She tells me to stay in my swim lane. None of that works in the toy business. So I am the maintenance man there. I have a clipboard and that's where I stay. So just so you know, I am not part of any of the, hey, you should do this or what. I learned very quickly, this is not Artiflex. Anyway, so anyways, thank you.
Happy wife, happy life. Yes, nicely done. So I think with a couple of things, we don't have time for questions, obviously, but you can tell the passion that Armand has for not only his industry, but the community, which is really, really important for us longer term and how Artiflex will continue to be a leader in the community. And I will tell you that I was able to go to the plant a week and a half ago. We do some work with them as a partner, and the facility, it is really, really nice. So he has done a really good job of cleaning things up. And for those who really, really would want to see the facility, I would challenge you to reach out to him, because I know that he does have people come through. They transformed the inside of the facility, and a lot of it is due to his leadership and his vision for where they're headed in the future. So September 17th, there's a car show. Okay, tour. So there you go. Mark it 5 months, 2 days from now, and 4 months, 1 day from now for Greg's. We got the car show the 17th of September. So we're set to go, man. But no, they do. And that's one thing you have every year. Folks, next week, Don, thank you so much. College of Wooster Professor Haspin, is that right? Talking about the topic is the Black Plague. Is that correct? Okay, I was making sure that wasn't a joke when it came across here as a text message, and I'm going, are you guys setting me up or what? So, hey, what a great Monday. Armand, you did a heck of a job. We had 43 people here present today. It's growing, so we welcome the Zoomers to come and join us in a safe environment, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday. We stand adjourned. Take care.